Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
And I've told you guys in many videos, I've said Eddie Hearn works for Anthony Joshua. It's not the other way around. I've made many examples. I told you guys, do you really think if Anthony Joshua wanted to fight someone in particular, do you really think Eddie Hearn is going to say, no, you can't fight him? Or if Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight a certain opponent, do you really think Eddie Hearn is going to call him up and say, no, you getting your ass in the ring, you are going to fight him? It would not happen that way. Because once again, Eddie Hearn, he works for Anthony Joshua. It's not the other way around. I told you guys a long time ago, when Deontay Wilder first started calling out Anthony Joshua, I remember Eddie Hearn, he came out and he responded to Deontay Wilder and he said, that's the fight we want. Eddie Hearn said, that's the fight that we want. Anthony Joshua will stop Deontay Wilder in 3 rounds. That's what Eddie Hearn said, right? All of a sudden, Anthony Joshua, he came out a couple days later and he basically retracted what Eddie Hearn said. And he was like, look, man, we're not in a rush to fight against this guy. I'm not going to be forced to fight him. I worked my way up the ladder and I don't know when that fight is going to happen. So you guys see how it sounded like Eddie Hearn was confident that Anthony Joshua would take the fight. Then all of a sudden we heard Anthony Joshua say something that was the complete contrary. You know why, guys? That's because Eddie Hearn found out that his employer did not want the fight. I'm telling you guys all of this because Eddie Hearn, he just confirmed my suspicions when it comes to everything that I've said about this whole situation. And I don't feel he has a reason to lie. I mean, we've heard fans say that Canelo won't fight a certain opponent because of Oscar De La Hoya. But then we found out that when Canelo decided to fight Edeslani Lara, that was against Oscar De La Hoya's wishes. Because De La Hoya, he came out and he admitted it. He said, I did not want Canelo to fight against Edeslani Lara, but that's the fight that Canelo wanted, right? Even Manny Pacquiao, people would say, oh, it's Bob Arum that's controlling Manny Pacquiao and picking his opponents. But when Bob Arum was telling Manny Pacquiao to fight Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao said, no, I'm not fighting Terrence Crawford. So we found out, once again, it was the contrary. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, and you'll hear Eddie Hearn saying every single thing that I've been telling you guys for the longest when it comes to this Joshua versus Wilder situation. This interview was conducted by my man Gustavo Neri, who works with me. He interviewed Eddie Hearn at the Demetrius Andre press conference, and this is what Eddie Hearn had to say.
The fighter, he owns the show. He owns everything. We work for Anthony Joshua. He is my boss, right? Whatever he tells me to do, I will do, right? Whoever he wants to fight with his trainer, I will make. I don't go, Anthony, you are not fighting him. I'm gutted that Amir Khan took a fight for less money to fight Terrence Crawford. But you can't criticise because it's a tougher fight, you know? Right. So you can't say, oh, Amir Khan's ducking Kell Brook. No, he's fighting Terrence Crawford. Right. But for me, it was a fight that the British public won, where he could have made more money. And if he beat Kell Brook, the fight with Terrence Crawford is even bigger. But Amir made his decision. I respect that decision. I support his decision. But for all the control Amir Khan has on his career, Anthony Joshua has exactly the same. They both control their own careers. You think Anthony Joshua... What makes me laugh is that people think Anthony Joshua is like a puppet. He's probably one of the brightest fighters I've ever worked with. Does he like me? Yeah, I suppose so. He don't give a fuck about upsetting me. He'll tell me to my face, fuck off, I'm doing this. I don't say to him, like, Joshua, sit down, you're fighting him. Now go to camp. Don't work like that. What do you think? What sort of business do you think this is? He says, we sit down in a room and I say to him, these are the options, what do you want to do? And he says, I want to fight Deontay Wilder. This is the conversation. I want to fight Deontay Wilder. Okay. And what about it? And if you can't get him, I'd like Fury. And if Fury won't fight me, I'll take Dillian White. And I'm up for Gerald Miller in New York, but that's my order. That's how the conversation goes. Now it's my job to go and make it happen. What we offer those guys is what Anthony wants to offer, because it comes out of his pocket. He owns everything. It's my advice. It might be Rob McCracken's advice. It might be sometimes my dad's advice on what we should offer those fighters. And we all feel the same way about those percentages particularly. So if he turned around tomorrow and said, fuck it, give him 50-50, then I don't go, no, you can't do that. But we work as a team collectively to make the best decisions for him. And, you know, as much as many fans might say, just give him the 50-50, it don't work like that, mate. This is a business as well as a sport. And I know sometimes people don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. When Anthony Joshua boxed Charles Martin, he got absolute peanuts for that fight, because he knew if he captured that world heavyweight title, he could go on and make something really successful for himself. And that's exactly what he done.